Revenge of the Nerds.
And now,
Sometimes I was making a drink and I didn't.
I could keep talking while you're doing that.
I want to hear now. It's time to talk about Better Off Dead,
Which is what you really want to talk about anyway.
Well, kind of, but I don't want you to talk out of school. But I want to.
That's a movie. I mean, I did a quote. I did a reference to that movie, not knowing you were going to be here. I think last week or the week before, and that's a movie that I know I quote a couple times a week ever since I've seen it. And it's also like it's a thing that when something happens, everybody in the room of a certain age all says the same line.
Right.
I've never seen Snow without quoting you from that movie.
Right.
Because that is a great fucking line.
Which
Do you
one?
have any idea what the street value of this mountain would be?
My favorite moment in Better Off Dead is when the bad guy, he skis to a stop and then there's John Cusack and there's his cute girlfriend who's going to get stolen by the bad guy, and then there's Curtis's character standing next to him. And the bad guy, the preppy bad guy, says, looking at Cusack's girlfriend, goes like, "Oh, you're a cute little thing. What's your name?" And with incredible sincerity, you step forward and go, "Charles Dumas." And it's not you're not being the guy who's like you're not the Animal House subversion. No. Like your character in that movie is like an interesting tweak on the nerd character, because he's absolutely like he doesn't ever seem to really take any sides, and he's sort of like he's very happy to be called a cute little thing and help that guy with his skiing if that's what he wanted in that moment.
Yes, I'll hold your clipboard. Yes, yeah. No, it was such an odd movie because it. Hello. It was
we'll edit that out.
It was a story that was pretty typical, that was being filtered through his sensibility, which no one was aware of at the time. He was very new. He was 24, I think. And he was making this, what was basically this was a real movie.
How many of you guys? How many of you seen Better Off Dead? Who's really?
Wait. More accurately, by applause, honestly, who has not seen the movie?
Wow,
it's creeping in. I mean, this is we're getting old. We're getting old.
This is the thing: is that now it's like me talking to somebody like your age about movies that, when I was your age, I thought would never go away, and they've already gone.
Yeah, I mean, Better Off Dead. It didn't occur to me.
You mean
until,
like Birth of a Nation?
Yeah, those kinds of
movies. Yeah. I was growing up on. We were all growing up on John Hughes movies, and it did. When I rewatched Better Off Dead, what I finally realized, having become in my old age a kind of John Hughes expert, was that the thing about Better Off Dead was its departure from the John Hughes. Yeah. Like mainline, and there was no other way to express it when you were back then, except that it's a weird movie, it's a crazy movie, it's weird, but it was like, well, it's not a weird movie would be, Easy Rider. I mean, it would just be about something weird. This is about sex and teenage life and going to prom and winning ski competitions. The tone of it, the reality is like it's not grounded in the John Hughes reality where you can live and die by what someone feels. There's
comedy sketches that keep recurring through it. It just breaks genre all the time.
The universe is absurd. There are so many things about the universe that make absolutely no sense that I would imagine a normal producer would immediately say, with all the best intentions, you can't do that. I know you think that's fun. The reason you think that's fun is because you're bored. And you're a director or you're a writer and you want to have fun, but the audience doesn't want to have that much fun. I'm not like, I say this all the time when I'm making my TV show. I'm like constantly like going like, let's not freak them out. They want to believe these people are real so that we can continue to have fun for 1,000 years. Right. But then if you really the thing that I've learned in doing Community is that as long as if somebody is betrayed, if they feel betrayed, and you believe they're betrayed, it doesn't matter if if the moon is a dick. It doesn't. It's the universe can just be anything. You can be in outer space. You can just cut to anything. We're all pickles now. But but as long as you have to pick that one channel to be consistent with the physics of emotional consistency. So like why wouldn't that guy say that guy was an asshole? Like he just was an asshole to him. I don't care if they're pickles. I'm not going to ask why they're pickles. We didn't ask why Snoopy didn't run out of room in his doghouse. Like it was we were held to the ground by you did.
I wondered that.
Remember those letters? Did you ever read about who was the father of Mr. Brady on the Brady Bunch? Shaw was his name. Who was the actor that played Father Brady on the Brady Bunch? I can't think of his name.
Well, he'd be happy right now.
God, no.
What the hell's his name?
Greg Brady? No, that can't be. That can't be right.
Anyway, he would get these big fights with Sherwood Schwartz.
Robert. No, I thought no.
Robert Reed.
Robert.
Is that it?
Is it Robert Reed?
Yeah.
Did I get half of it right? I'm sorry.
I almost said Robert Shaw. That's totally different.
Okay.
But like he would get in these big arguments, like with letters back and forth with Sherwood Schwartz, and say there cannot be a pie fight. like you cannot have a family in a house and all of a sudden go into slapstick. And Sherwood Schwartz said, "We're making a TV show. We're having a good time." Like, no, but there's rules that have to be adhered to. Yeah. And he was determined to keep there to be logic within the world of the Brady Bunch. But like the audience, like I love the pie fights on the Brady Bunch. It was great.
Well, you know, I think it's also in the case of the movies, it was an interesting time because I think that period around the 80s, the beginning of the 80s, mid 80s, was the last time you could really do a movie like Better Off Dead and have it be produced by a major film company and released in theaters with these actors in it who, you know, I mean, John Cusack was not anybody who anyone really knew at the time. And certainly none of the rest of it. Kim Darby was probably the biggest star among us, you know.
Who is that?
Kim Darby. You don't know who Kim Darby is?
No, who's Kim Darby?
I love that you don't know. Kim Darby was in the original, she played Cusack's mother.
Okay.
Lane's mother in Better Off Dead, and she was the original girl in True Grit, the John Wayne True Grit.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
She's French dressing and French fries?
Yeah. French fries.
That's her?
Yeah, that's her.
I quoted that a couple days ago.
Yeah. We just saw her. I mean, we just did a reading.
Well, she's the little girl in True Grit with
in
John
True
Wayne?
Grit with John
I
Wayne.
did not know that. That's amazing.
See, there you are. You learned something
That's
tonight.
really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would have done. I don't know who I'd be if I didn't have that movie in my life. That John Cusack's character in that movie lived in a house that was roughly the size of mine.
It looked like a real house too.
He had like he didn't have the problems I had, but he lived in a world that I did, in that I felt completely alienated. It was better expressed by that director than, God bless him for all of his incredibly important work, John Hughes. But I mean, like, it was more poignantly expressed through an absurdist lens by this more punk rock director who's saying, like, let's go more extreme with this. If I let's just say I want to kill myself. Let's have me try to kill myself.
Right.
Let's express how I feel through animation. Let's express how I feel through characters that could not exist in real life, like coming at me. That the net result will be that I feel beleaguered. That I feel like
also to go into to voiceover narration when the two Asian guys come up.
Are you asking who did that?
No, I'm saying, like, the fact that it happened. Just to do that is hilarious.
Yeah,
and also you know it's coming back for the third time. When the second time it happens, like, it's going to happen a third time, and it's going to be at a great point in the movie. Yeah. and I want my $2. That has to pay off, and all these little things have to keep recurring. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Better Off Dead.
Now, okay. Not to be a jerk, because I get to work with very frequently, and I love him to pieces, and we've talked about it quite a bit. And he has wonderful stories. Is Joel Murray?
Oh yeah.
And he said the shooting of One Crazy Summer, that you guys were in Nantucket or Martha's Vineyard, or where were you guys?
We were in.
And he's got awesome, like, ribbled, sexy stories about what you guys got to do.
Well, I was not in that. I'm noticeably not in any of those stories. No, I'm in the movie. Yeah. But I wasn't in any of the sexy ribbons. I missed all of those. I was,
No kidding. Oh, that's too bad, because he has some really.
I know.
He has some doozies.
Yeah, Joel did great. Bill's younger brother.
Yeah.
You know,
He's the youngest of the Murray brothers. He's number 9 out of 9.
Yeah.
Now, because it happened on Twitter, so you could tell the story, right? That you were just telling me about the Cusack.
Just interesting story. Yeah, that this. I mean, of course, many of you here have not actually seen Better Off Dead, but
the legend is that Cusack
hated the movie.
Not a fan of the movie, and I will let me lend this because you're not talking out of school. I am. Rob Schraub was up to direct Hot Tub Time Machine long ago. He had a meeting with Cusack where Rob's going to be very angry at me about that. like he came back from that meeting. I won't go into specifics, but he had a conversation that he came away from saying, "Oh my God, John Cusack doesn't like Better Off Dead." Okay. So right. it's out there.
It's out there that he was not happy with the movie, and then we had to make a second movie. The following year, we made a second movie with almost the same cast.
Because it was like a 2-picture deal, or
it was supposedly the first 2 of 3 movies.
And the legend that I've heard is that Cusack had not seen Better Off Dead.
No, that's not true. That's not true. He had seen it.
Okay, that there was before they started shooting One Crazy Summer.
You know what?
There was a screening of Better Off Dead.
That might have happened because I wasn't in Nantucket when they started filming, so they may have screened it there. And
so there was like this new director. Was like
I knew that he had not been happy with the movie.
They're starting One Crazy Summer.
So they're starting a second movie with the same director and an actor who is not happy with the first movie. Is what appeared to be the case. And over the years, the legends have it's just gotten ridiculous. Where everybody says, well, not only does he hate it, but he abuses people who refer to it. And he actually, if he's handed something to sign and it has something to do with Better Off Dead, he will tear it up and throw it away. I mean, the stories became legendary.
Are those verifiable? Or is that all legendary?
No. It's just
I heard he stabbed a child one time. Is that true?
Because his name was Betty.
His name was Lane.
And said, "I want my $2 as a joke." No, these are the kinds of things. And the end of the story, as you're asking for, is that we did this reading 3 weeks ago in San Francisco for Sketchfest. And it was Savage was there, and a bunch of us from the movie, Kim Darby, Diane Franklin, Amanda Weiss, we were all there, and we were reading the script.
Reading Better Off Dead.
Better Off Dead. But Cusack is not there. So the next day, I'm getting all of these Twitter questions from people saying, where's Cusack? Why wasn't Cusack there? Why didn't you invite Cusack? That's bullshit, man. You should have had Cusack there. It was his movie, and all this stuff, and going on and on. And I usually don't respond to that kind of thing, but I finally wrote a tweet and said, John's not a fan of the film. Uh-oh. And that's the truth. So that's why he wasn't there. It's not like we didn't want him there. We would have loved to have had him. He doesn't like the movie. 10 minutes later, John Cusack tweets, not true.
I love Twitter so fucking much. I mean, you wouldn't be here without for Twitter.
So I know, and so
it's not just
it
him.
winds up. John and I have not spoken to John in 25 years, probably, and we never
because he loved the movie so much.
Huh?
He loved the movie so much.
No, I mean
to talk to his co-stars would be to tamper with that memory.
Nah, it's just, you don't. I mean, you move on in your life and you just don't, you don't live in each other's pants exactly. It's just, you move on. So, but
it's an old
been a long
expression.
time. Sorry. But it's been a long time. And we don't follow each other on Twitter. So suddenly he's following me on Twitter. So I follow him on Twitter.
Because he must have got zoomed by 1,000 tweets.
Of course. And then we start direct messaging about it. And it was so wonderful to hear, whatever his feelings had been, it was really great to get some nice feedback.
What was the kind of the takeaway from that conversation was?
He says, I hated the music. I remember he said that he hated the music. I said, well, that's 80s music. I mean, everybody hates 80s music.
But was he sort of like who sent the first direct message? I'm like a 14-year-old girl right now. Or boy.
He sent the first one because what happened was he sent this out, a regular tweet,
right.
but he tagged me.
Right.
So when I followed him, he saw me.
Right.
So he followed me, and then he followed up on his initial tweet.
Right.
In which he said more about what his feelings were.
So
which I don't feel qualified.
Who sent the first direct message to
he did to me.
To you, following up. That's
following what he had already.
He's saying,
tweeted.
hey, Curtis, just so you know, like I really love that movie.
No, he didn't say that. It was subtler than that.
It was more like, just so you know, it's a big mistake to spread rumors about the Coos.
Well, no.
Those are the two ends of the spectrum.
That really.
If you mess with the Coos, you get the
Joel
sack.
Murray did what you did 5 years ago, and now he's doing improv with Jeff Davis. I will bury you.
Oh God!
So he didn't come out and say retract that he at one point.
No. Look, you know what? It's all. What winds up happening is, and I said this when I messaged him back. I said, this is what happens when you communicate through playing telephone.
Right.
To use a really old thing.
What's older than that? Chinese telephone. That was an expression.
I said, you say one thing, somebody then comes to me and says, did you hear what he said? And I go, oh, geez, he said that? And then it goes back and forth and back and forth. And that was the way it went.
So how are things left with you and he?
Fine.
Fine?
Yeah.
You guys going to hang out?
No.
Are you gonna help him ski the 4K?
We're the 12K.
12K.
Now,
the 12K, dude.
When I hear, and this is just me projecting onto him.
He even does my voice. It's a little scary.
Well, no, it's unintentional.
No. It was.
I kind of sound like you, regardless.
Well.
The 12K, dude.
It's not bad.
Believe me, it's funnier in context.
There's that scene when he's making the burgers and Van Halen starts singing that terrible. It's not a good Van Halen song, by the way, for my money. And he starts doing animation with the burgers and the thing. And
right.
If there was a scene, if I were John Cusack and I looked back at a screening of that, I would not be proud of that scene because it's pretty ham bone.
Yeah.
And so when I hear him say he doesn't like the music, I think he's embarrassed about that one scene more specifically.
Well, that could be, but that takes me into a whole area that I can't even comment on.
But and that also makes me wonder. Well, how does he feel about tape heads? Is he like he must be like a hipster? Like he must love tape heads.
I have no idea what he likes.
Because I just remembered tape heads, which was an
I remember
cult,
that with Timothy.
And I bet that had a lot more street cred with like music.
Well, it was an independent movie. I was working for that company when it was made, actually. And that was sort of low budget, independent, edgy movie of the time. And Tim Robbins.